Have you ever wondered what would happen if history took a slightly weirder turn? Forget everything you learned in school, because today we rediving into an alternate universe where Abraham Lincoln wasn't just a president, but also a secret wizard and part-time archaeologist. This is the story of Honest Ab and his most audacious plan ever. Picture this. It is the middle of the war with Laos, a conflict you've definitely never heard of, because it never happened here. But in this timeline, it was a real mess. The Union was struggling, and Lincoln, feeling the pressure, decided it was time to unveil his secret weapon. He gathered his generals, a stern look on his face, and declared, "Gentlemen, the Union shall prevail, with knights." Now, you might be thinking, knights, like metaphorically. Oh no, we're talking real, honest do-goodness, Knights Templar, full armor, cross and blazoned shields, and apparently a bizarre proficiency for jousting on unicycles. It sounds completely insane, and it was. But how did Lincoln pull this off? Well, during some late-night archaeological digging beneath the White House, basement which was probably just him looking for a lost sock, Lincoln stumbled upon an ancient Templar charter. Tucked away in the fine print was a peculiar clause, a little-known loophole that allowed the order to be reactivated in times of national peculiar emergency. And if a war with Laos isn't peculiar, I don't know what is. So, with his signature top hat perched firmly on his head and a monocle that doubled as a map-reading magnifying glass, Lincoln signed the charter. It was a moment for the ages. Within hours, the streets of Washington, D.C. were filled with the clanking of steel armor. A legion of Knights Templar, summoned across time and space, marched down Pennsylvania Avenue, looking thoroughly bewildered. One knight, adjusting his helmet, turned to his comrade and asked, "So, where's the dragon we're supposed to fight?" Lincoln just smiled mysteriously. "No dragon," he said. "Just the enemy. You can only imagine the scene at the Union Army camps. General Meade is sipping his coffee, probably complaining about supply lines, when a full-fledged knight in shining armor rides past on a unicycle, asking for directions to the nearest blacksmith. Morale didn't just skyrocket. It launched into orbit. These weren't just symbolic figures. These knights were the real deal. They were expert swordsmen, masters of medieval combat, and, weirdly enough, incredibly skilled at assembling IKEA furniture. This unexpected talent proved crucial for building makeshift fortifications faster than anyone thought possible. Flat-pack forts became the new standard of military engineering. On the battlefield, it was a sight to behold. The Templars charged with a kind of divine, almost magical precision. Enemy cannons would reportedly just misfire out of sheer awe and respect. The opposing troops in Laos were so utterly baffled by the sight of men in shiny armor riding lamazes. Lincoln also arranged for lamas, because why not, that they often just threw down their weapons in pure confusion and surrendered. The war that was projected to last for decades was suddenly turning in the Union's favor. Lincoln himself played the role of the enigmatic commander-in-chief perfectly. He'd occasionally ride out to the front lines, not on a horse, but probably on some kind of steam-powered rocking chair. He'd lower his top hat, whisper a cryptic piece of strategic advice to a Templar captain like, "The squirrel buries its nuts on the north side of the tree," and ride off. Bafflingly, this advice always worked. The Templars would somehow interpret it, launch a flanking maneuver, and win the day. The tide of the war shifted dramatically. Thanks to this bizarre but brilliant strategy, the fictional war with Laos concluded in record time. Official military historians, trying to make sense of it all, wrote reports crediting the Union's victory to a combination of superior logistics, unwavering courage, and Abraham Lincoln's mysterious, time-traveling knights. The entry on the llamas was, for some reason, classified. After the dust settled and the peace treaty was signed, Lincoln held a grand ceremony to thank the Templars for their service. He gave a moving speech, probably mentioning something about 7 minutes ago when he decided to summon them. The knights, ever polite, accepted his gratitude, packed up their lances and unicycles, and prepared to return to their secret, timeless order. But one knight could even tell but ask the question on everyone's mind. "With all due respect, Mr. President, why did we agree to this again?" Lincoln simply tipped his hat a knowing glint in his eye. History, he said, has a sense of humor. And so, the Knights Templar vanished as mysteriously as they had appeared, leaving behind a legacy of victory and a whole lot of confused historians. In this alternate universe, school children learned that Abraham Lincoln freed the Union, abolished slavery, and, just for fun, reactivated a centuries-old secret society to speed up a minor, completely made-up war. It's a lesson in creative problem-solving, if nothing else. Somewhere, in a hidden vault outside of time, those very same Knights Templar are likely still polishing their armor and practicing their unicycle jousting. Just wait. They're waiting for the next peculiar emergency, because they know that if a man in a top hat ever needs to win a strange war against all odds, Honest Abe is probably going to give them a call. After all, when you've got time-traveling knights on speed dial, any problem seems a little more manageable. Thanks for joining me on this bizarre journey through an alternate past. If you enjoyed this trip into the weird side of history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tailies from the timelines you never knew existed. Let me know in the comments what other historical figure you'd like to see get a crazy alternate universe upgrade. See you next time.